This next recipe is from my latest book, The Weeknight Cookbook, and I love it because it's a take on a biryani. Now, classically, biryani is done with slow-cooked lamb or chicken, but I wanted to speed it up and give it a seafood twist. So I'm using some swordfish and store-bought Madras curry paste. There's nothing wrong with store-bought curry paste, and the whole point of this book was to show you how to get the most out of your pantry, freezer, and your fridge. So in a pot, I've started to boil some water. I'm going to add 2 bay leaves. You can just use some dried bay leaves, along with 2 cardamom pods that I've broken open. This is going to flavour our rice. Now I'll need 2 cups of rice. I'm using basmati rice for this because it holds its shape. So we're going to just measure that out. I've got a 1/2 cup measure, and then into some water, and then give that a wash to get rid of some of that starch. Now we can just let that soak for a moment while we get on to our curry base. Now in a pot just like this one, we can start heating up some oil. So just vegetable oil, and I'll add 1 onion that I've finely sliced. You can see that this pot is quite large. It's also non-stick and it'll go in the oven, and that's what we need for a biryani. It starts on the stove top and then finishes off in the oven. So we'll fry that along with some ginger, and I'll just finely slice my ginger. I don't want too much ginger because there is quite a lot of it in the Madras curry paste. So battens, and then we'll just roughly chop that into a dice. Okay, that can go in with our onions, and we'll give that a stir. What we're trying to do is get them soft, and a slight caramelisation is okay. I'll add some salt. Now we can add our Madras curry paste. You can use many different curry pastes for this, as long as it goes well with fish. This one has a combination of ground coriander seeds, cumin seeds, and like I mentioned before, some ginger and garlic, so it's fantastic. So give that a mix and coat all of those onions. Now I'll let that cook off for a moment, and I also need some tomatoes. This is 1 can of whole peeled tomatoes, and I've just drained off some of the liquid. I just want big chunks of tomato in this and a concentrated flavour, and that's why I get rid of the juice. So we can add that now. Scoop it in. And then with your wooden spoon, just crush the tomatoes, just so we cook out the rawness of them and allow them to soften. Okay, now for some liquid. I'm using coconut milk, 2 times 270 millilitres of coconut milk that I'll add. Scrape down that, and then just let that come to the boil. So I've just defrosted 1 packet of frozen spinach, and then I've drained off the excess water, and now we're going to add it to this coconut milk mixture, and then mix it through and allow it to wilt. It's also just a pop of colour, so I really love the addition of that. Okay, before we add our fish, we need to get our rice blanched. So I'm just going to drain it from the water. Shake the excess off. And then we're going to add that to that boiling water. Fabulous. And we just need to cook this for about 5 to 7 minutes, or until the rice is al dente. That cardamom pod and those bay leaves are really going to flavour the rice. Once that's al dente, I'll drain it and we'll go on to the next stage. Okay, this sauce has come off the heat. It really takes no time at all to thicken up. Now we can add the fish. Now it seems kind of strange to be adding some raw fish to it, but it's all about timing when it comes to cooking this dish. So fish takes no time at all to cook. So we'll add our swordfish and just coat it in the mix. And then we're going to add our par-cooked rice. So fold that through, and because it's raw, it's quite easy to fold through without breaking the fish up. So spread it out so it's quite even. And we can add our rice. So with your rice, make sure you just check it so it's not overcooked. Please don't overcook it because we'll get stodgy rice. We want it to cook perfectly with our fish. So we're going to pour this over with the cardamom pod and the bay leaf, no problems at all. And we'll pour that on, completely covering our fish. Now spread it to the sides and cover it. And you can see this pot is the perfect size for a dish like this. This one in particular is 28 centimetres. So with our bay leaves, just let them poke out because we will see them at the end. And press down on that. And we're talking about using jarred ingredients and things that we have in our pantry. I love mango pickles. You can get it from all your supermarkets. It does have a kick to it. So if you're making this for the kids, leave this out and you can add it later on. But I like how it cooks into the rice and stains the rice when it's baking in the oven. So 3 little dollops of it and just press it in. And this needs to steam, so for extra assurance I use some foil and we just cover that up. And now we'll place a fitted lid on top and this goes into the oven. It's going to cook for about 40 minutes at 180 degrees. Now, this is one of those dishes that you take to the table in the pot because there's nothing better than when everyone's sitting around and you take the foil off and they smell that with the steam. It is just the most fragrant curry imaginable. Now, I'm going to take a nice chunk out of here. It's like a little surprise, if you like, because when you serve this to your friends and family, they'll think, oh, that just looks like a pot of rice. And then all of a sudden, dun dun dun, we have a beautiful fish curry underneath. So just like biryani, it's even amounts of rice and meat. It's not too saucy, but that's how I like it. And then don't forget this delicious mango chutney on the top. Just perfect. For a final touch, it's crispy fried shallots, all from the supermarket. That is just such a delicious, very alternative way of doing biryani. Yummo. And have a taste. Look at that swordfish, perfectly cooked. Swordfish has so much flavour, it's so meaty. Yes, this is not a traditional biryani, but it's my take. And you know what? It cuts the time in half and a lot of the ingredients you'll have in your freezer or your pantry.